What's up, guys? Today we're going to unpack the disappointing loss at home versus Galaxy 2, Los Dos. But then we'll turn our attention and focus on Reno coming up this weekend. Big away match coming at you next.
Alright guys, welcome back to the Old Glory Red Report. I do want to apologize for not getting that video out last week. We did have the podcast out, so hopefully you went over to the SoundCloud and checked those out. We will have the video coming back up this week. We did have a little technical difficulties, but we got over that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and roll into that Los Dos game on Saturday. What'd you make of it, man?
I mean, I think when we did our predictions on the podcast, you had a win. Albeit 1-0.
I was a little more optimistic than everybody.
Yeah, me and our two guests, John Glatz and Rave Bear, I mean, they said, 3-0, 3-1, and then I went over the top and I said 4-0. To my credit, I almost hit the score right.
Just flipped it.
Unfortunately, yeah, gosh, that was the worst loss in some time. What did you think?
Yeah, if not of all time. Mentality. We've talked about it all season long, and it's back to where we started at the beginning of the season. The guys just didn't seem like they wanted to play at all this whole game. Every goal that happened, all four goals were by one of our back line, and all four of our back line were a culprit in letting in one of those goals. Yeah,
and again, I mean, it's another game with a very slow start. I mean, this is the third game in a row now where we've given up a goal in the first 5-6 minutes of the game, and now it's 4 goals given up in our last 3 games in the first 8 or 9 minutes. That is inexcusable. You can't win like that. When you're playing 80-plus minutes from behind, you're just at that point hoping for a draw.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about it all season too, is our defense just hasn't been good enough. If you have an offense that's creating 2 or 3 goals a game, then you can have a defense that gives a goal or 2 away every game. But we're not having that offense this season. We're having an offense that looks good but just isn't producing. And so that back line's got to be much stronger. And again, Gomez was a culprit on the first one. I believe it was Schmidt that gave up the penalty. And I watched it again. It's a clear penalty. He does not go for the ball at all. He straight just budges into the player. So it's a penalty. The third goal, Tainter sticks his foot out. No effort put into to stop it or nothing. And then Seiler's the culprit on the last one. So all 4 of our back line crucially gave up something in this game.
Yeah, it just seems like the communication might not be there, and obviously, even when the defense is playing well, they're starting slow. I mean, you just I hate to again go back to the point, but you cannot give up early goals and expect to win, especially like you pointed out. Our team, we're not Phoenix. We're not a team that's going to score 3-4 goals a game. We scored 3, once this year? Twice, maybe?
Yeah, well, there's teams that have scored already 40-plus goals and have played less games than us, and we're not even at 40 yet.
We're a team that wins 1-0, 2-1. Exactly. We don't win 3-2, 4-3. No, so you give up goals like that early in the game often, it's not going to go well. And even though we have a favorable schedule for the rest of the way, you cannot afford, it doesn't matter who you're playing, to go down, because in this league, in any league, you can't play from behind and expect to come out on top.
Well, and this is Los Dos. They're 13th or something like that in the season, or in the conference?
Yeah.
This is not a team at home we should be dropping points to. This is a game that should have got us into second place almost. Now, we go to Reno, depending on the result there, they could be 2 points behind us. Timbers are only 2 points behind us. Now it goes from getting a favorable second position to 6th or 7th, where we get no home field advantage ever in the playoffs. So, these are crucial points to be dropping.
Yeah, right now we're sitting in 4th, but like you said, we would be looking at a lot better situation how we won that game. Because, we do have a favorable schedule, and we'll talk about that. We have talked about that before, but we play Reno this weekend. We'll get into that game a little bit later, but that's a tough game on the road. Maybe our toughest game remaining. But you know what? You lose that game, and now you're looking at a 3-game losing streak.
Absolutely. And Reno hasn't been doing well the last couple, but they did have a 16-game winning streak from their terrible start to the season to the last few games that haven't went their way. So they are a team that we've seen this season know how to put the ball in the back of the net and we're a team that's been letting them in. So it worries me going into this one.
And you know what? Not to harp on our back line any further, but I thought also, the stats might say that we had as many opportunities as Los does, but the first half we were overran. Not only defending, but
100%.
we didn't have too many good chances to score throughout that game, but especially early. It took us 30, 40 minutes to get kind of even, keel with the game itself. So
yeah, it's that lack of cutting edge in the final third. We do actually pretty well in the build-up to there, and then we just seem to, everyone runs out of ideas in that final third.
Yeah.
Good on Bijev to get the one goal in the second half to at least give us something to cheer about in the stands, but...
Yeah, we'd like to hear from you guys. Let us know what you think was the biggest problem in that loss and in our recent lack of results. Do we need to make a change in the back line? One thing I kind of wanted to point out, too, is that, when Elliot took over the team, and I think you mentioned it before, it was kind of late in the offseason.
Yeah, we've talked about that before,
Maybe he doesn't have the, roster that he wants entirely.
Absolutely.
But one thing that I've noticed is that our club has not made any moves at the deadline, where in the last couple of years, like last year, Bijev was a really big addition.
And he came in maybe a little bit earlier than it is now, like just a few games earlier. So.
Exactly. But, it's concerning that, if we don't have the right players, there's players out there, and we haven't seen any additions. Hopefully we'll get Clementa back. I know that there's some guys still making their way back.
That'll be big for the back line.
Hayden Partain should be coming back.
He just got engaged. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
To Partain.
Definitely. But, hopefully hopefully the front office and the coaching staff realize that, maybe they don't need any outside help. That's what I'm hoping. But if there are additions, maybe at center back, maybe another midfielder, maybe another forward. I mean, it's not like there's any one level of this team that's just dominating every time.
Yeah, and they did bring Matty again, a third of the way into the season. So we know that they aren't afraid to bring people in. And like you said, we saw it last season. It just leaves it up to the table. Do they want to spend more money on a player, or are they going to wait until they can actually get Elliot the player he wants in between seasons? Because like we talked about before, this might not necessarily be Elliot's team. He might have been walking into this team. And so when that happens, to bring a player in force now, it might help us this season, but might not be the best long-term approach.
Sure.
So maybe they're considering that.
Maybe a short-term loan or something like that.
Yeah, that might be something that we consider. Bringing someone down from MLS that's not starting to give them a good start. So.
Yeah, this is the time of year. So, all in all, very disappointing game at home. Maybe obviously the worst home game of the season. We lost to Reno at home. That was our only other home loss. But at least in that game, we lost 3-2, but we had the lead. It was a back and forth. This game, it was over in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. 20 minutes, that was it.
But, moving on, let's talk about Reno. We got a big match this weekend. What do they call it? The Donner Pass Derby, the I-80.
Yeah. Donner Pass Derby.
Reno is definitely the team in the USL closest to us in proximity. So, we have a rivalry this year. They got us at home. They served us that 3-2 disappointing home loss where I think we gave 3 goals in almost a record amount of time.
We were up 2-0, and then we gave them 3 back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it was bang, bang, bang. It was 3 shots in a row. Very disappointing. But we did get them back in the U.S. Open Cup. Alamon with that great free kick.
Yeah, and we do tend to get the better of them in the Open Cups. So.
Yeah, and they've gotten the better of us in the league.
They absolutely.
So you know what? We've lost to them this year. We've beat them this year. This is kind of the rubber match for me, right? So we could talk about them a little bit. Their recent form. They're not so hot. They've dropped a couple games. They just tied Swope. That 3-3 game, wasn't that the game?
3-3.
Was that the game in the downpour? I don't remember, but
no, I didn't watch.
There was one the other day, but regardless, they're a familiar foe. What do you expect coming into this game?
Well, they're a team that has been performing really well minus the last few games. The coach kind of has switched up the formation in the last couple games, so maybe they have some players that are injured. We don't really have their reports, so I don't really know their full fitness of their squad. They really haven't had too many goal scorers, but they've kind of spread the goals around, and that's something we haven't seen, and that's a dangerous look. They have players on 9, 7, 7, 5 goals. So that spreading the goals around, I think, is going to be key for them. And it's going to be the problem for our back line.
Yeah.
Because we've got to keep everyone tight. There's not one person that you can say that's they track Iwasa when they come and play his. there's not that in the counterpart, and I think that's going to come back to bite us in the ass in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Brown on their team does have 11 goals, so he probably is the one guy. But like you said, they're a team that they score goals. They have multiple guys that have, 5, 6 goals, who would easily be the second leading scorer on our team behind Awasa. One guy that, in particular, Hopino, he's always kind of been a guy that's been a thorn in our side. And
he's been out the last few games, hasn't he?
Yeah, but you know what? The last game, I believe he was playing out wide, and I did notice that this year, I don't know if he's scored, but he has 9 assists, which is an incredibly high number. And I see that they've been playing him. He used to be playing in like a second striker in a 4-4-2, but this year I think they have him out wide a little bit more. So he's definitely somebody that, Gomez or whoever is covering out there on their right side, our left side is going to have to take into account.
Yeah, Gomez didn't have the best game against Los Dos, but he's been very solid for us. So out of anyone in that back line, I don't want to give him too much stick. He did have a big mistake on that first goal, but I think he'll hold strong. I really hope Clemente gets back into that back line to maybe sum up some of the problems that we saw in the last few games. Because like you said, we're going to have problems with that.
And Reno comes in at 6th place. They're on 38 points, or 5 behind us. They have a couple games in hand. So if they beat us, they're definitely liking their chances to get in the top 4, maybe get a home game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But this could be a possible playoff matchup.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, one thing to point out is they do have a better record away than they do at their own home. I think they're only like 4-4-1 at home when they're like 6-6-1 away or something of that nature. So they may have came and got the best tourists in our house.
4 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws at home. So they're like 500. That's odd.
Their chances of us going there and getting the points, I think, do add up because they just haven't been playing very well at home. And we've actually had a few good results away recently.
And it makes sense, too, because they beat us away and then they lost to us at home.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps us because, I think we might be a better team on the road as well. At least a little more consistent.
Feel like we are a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, that game's at Greater Nevada Field this Saturday night. So Republic fans, I don't know if you guys have gone to an away game or are thinking about making the trip, but the guys could probably use your voices this week. But speaking of voices, a lot of fans weren't very happy after the last game. I know we're kind of transitioning back, but a lot of fans on social media were
I think this is
very,
the overall here.
Yeah, they were very upset about the guys' home performance.
And, I mean, by all means, they should be. As long as we're being mad about the right things. We talked about it a little bit beforehand, and I see people getting mad about, we don't have MLS now after this loss, and, fans aren't coming to the stands anymore because of this loss. Well, no, those things were happening other than that. Let's put that out of the mind and focus on what is happening in the USL this season. Let's be disappointed on these last few results from the team. Let's be disappointed on the mentality. I'm kind of just tired of hearing about everything that happens with this team tracks somehow back to MLS.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too in sports. It's like when you're winning, like a lot of things don't get talked about, and then when you start losing, then it's like, what about this and what about that? So, but yeah, we noticed that fans, especially like on Twitter, we're frustrated, we're venting a little bit, and rightfully so. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely. Put the comments below.
Yeah, let us know what you think the team needs to do moving forward. What kind of changes do we need to make to the lineup? Do we need players from the outside coming in? I mean, obviously it's hard for all of us, ourselves, and you guys out there to know who's available, what MLS players are available for loan, what USL players are looking for a transfer.
You gotta be pretty hardcore into it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the stuff that we have no idea about.
Yeah.
But is there a position in mind that you guys think we should focus on? Either maybe moving one of our regulars to a different spot, maybe dropping a Jeremy Hall back in the center back. We've seen it happen before. Maybe Clemente having this play more of a central back role instead of a outside back role, I
would like to see him be moved into a center back role with Tainter. I think that would be a good partnership.
I mean, there's one thing that with Clemente is that you're always going to get the positioning down, and I think that that's the biggest problem. It's either Tainter or Schmidt the last couple of games, and those have been the two that have played the most back there. And I just feel like the partnership hasn't been there. One guy's a little higher than the other one, and you talked about Schmidt's penalty, and the reason why it was a penalty is because he's out of position. He had to step so hard because the guy has collected the ball so close to our goal. He makes one bad step, a savvy little touch around him. Yeah. He gets hit. The referee, you put him in a position to call that.
He has no choice. He's going to call it. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're new here, please subscribe. The button's below. Hit that bell. Smash that thing so you don't miss any videos that come out. Also, we had a great event this last weekend. And we thank everybody that came out. We had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
It was great. It was a great time.
Yeah, we have some images and video that we'll be able to share with you guys in the future.
Coming
But
out.
thank you again for everybody who participated in the raffle.
Yeah.
The bands were great. I had a great time. Well, your band was good.
Thank you.
What were the other two bands? I'm
P.S.
sorry.
Lookdown, Alex Tasker's band from the TBB played. Those guys were awesome. It was
Great.
their first venue show, and
Couldn't tell it was
they
their first
came out
show.
and they played amazing. They had a great support out, so good for them.
Could not tell it was their first show.
Danger Inc. also played. They're an amazing band. If you like punk rock at all, do go on Facebook, check them out. They also, I believe, have a band camp and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And then,
they were great too. That was awesome. I got to talk to them a little bit before the show.
They're such cool people.
God, they were so nice, and they get on stage, and I was like, God, "These guys are awesome," you know.
And then a good friend of mine, Tim Williamson, he opened up. He did an acoustic
absolutely.
act, and if he played first on. If you didn't get there early, you probably missed him. But he's an amazing artist. He's an amazing person. So definitely check out his work as well.
And the FIFA tournament went on. Thanks again for the guys that participated. It was Damien that one, right?
It was Damien. that won.
Damien, congrats. But thanks to everybody that played. Some good competition out there. Maybe next time we'll have a few more people, but we'll tell you guys when the next event's coming up.
It went good for our first one. We're happy with it.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you. Let us know your thoughts about this last horrible game and this weekend's big rivalry match. Leave your comments below. Tell us what you think, and I guess we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, remember, win or lose, fill those seats. Come out and support.
Support.